Welcome to Motivate PE Deep Discussions. This is a series of talks to bring in people, experts in maybe education, maybe physical education, maybe health, and just have some more deep discussions about certain aspects in the education field. So lucky today to have Matt Iverson. So thanks for coming, Matt. Appreciate it. Kind of want this just to be a conversation.
Sure.
I'll pick up some of the things you're saying, maybe ask some follow-up questions about it. But first, I want you to go ahead and let me know, give me a little background on you.
Sure. University of Minnesota grad. I grew up in Lakeville, Minnesota area. Did my student teaching here in Shakopee and was graciously hired on by the staff, which was awesome. Had a really good idea of what I wanted, my philosophy of teaching, and especially in physical education and health. Got started right away here in Shakopee. Now the head strength coach here as well, so I get to run the strength program, working with all different types of athletes. Get to see kids after school, before school, during school. It's great to build those relationships. And now I'm on to some inside design and some articulation committee for the new changes in the academies, which we'll probably go over. So
Yeah.
it's been a really interesting 3 years, but I've been loving every second of it, and I'm just kind of excited to see where we go.
So I know Shakopee is going through a bunch of changes, both physically, you're adding onto the building, but also I'm interested in the collaboration with setting up the physical building along with curriculum and pedagogy and stuff. But let's take a step back first and let's talk a little maybe specific physical education on kind of what maybe you personally and maybe your cohort here or people you talk with and stuff in physical education. Maybe what are some of your goals or when the kids leave, what are you hoping your kids gain from your program here?
Yeah, so our department, we're really focused on college and career readiness. That's been a newer focus, but something that we've always been ready for. And we want them, really, it's just like our health class, we call it healthy lifestyles, is we want a healthy lifestyle. And we talk about some of the physical activity. And as we get into physical education, all of our classes for PE, we have 3 classes they can choose from to get their graduation credit. It provides them with a basic education of the standards, a basic understanding of different skills or activities that they could do for a lifelong period, not just competitively in high school or college. And then it gives them a really good focus on what we call the fitness plan, so that they're comfortable in a weight room type setting or a lifetime type setting, any sort of gym membership that they could use, so that they learn about their body, learn about how to gain muscle and reach the goals that they set, or if it's just overall basic health, they can kind of do those things as well. So we're trying to set them up with kind of a broad knowledge of physical education, but give them the specific skills to be healthy on their own.
So you brought up the point of college readiness, and I know that's kind of a buzzword, for probably any subject is college readiness. In probably physical education, we maybe college ready is important, life ready is important, all those things. And it seems like that's part of maybe what some of the changes around here are going to happen. So talk to me a little bit about, maybe people probably don't know, give me just a quick overview of what the changes are as far as going to the academies here at Shakopee.
Sure. Yep. So we have, our basic education model. For us, when we decided to go to the academy model, it was all about authentic learning. And so we're thinking that if you really take a look back at the education system in America right now, it can kind of feel like this conveyor belt of students, and we just kind of take them to the next level. They get that next little block or that next little piece. They get that English 10. They get that algebra. And they're kind of just this construction of education that we just kind of pass along. Say, okay, you're ready for the next level. Well, in Shakopee, what we've decided to do is that if we can do authentic learning and we can give them some actual real experience with these different fields or their interests, we let them investigate something they're interested in, and then explore that through authentic learning, whether that's a partnership with a community, business, or member, whether that's working with other departments or other academies or other teachers around the building. And what it comes down to is really these capstone classes that give them that outside or that extra knowledge of what that actual career could be for them.
So I want to go back to the authentic learning and partnering with outside. But talk to me a little bit more. You're going through physical renovations too, and I know you've mentioned to me that you're, as a department or as a school, you're trying to fit curriculum pedagogy with the physical building, which is an awesome opportunity, which most schools and districts don't have. But you guys are in the middle of that. So talk to me a little bit about how that's going to affect maybe Phi-Ed or health, and how you are getting your interest involved into that.
Yeah, well, it was kind of a perfect alignment, and I think the administration and kind of the teaching and learning department did a great job of helping us along the way. And just that as we were guiding our building decisions, we were guiding our curriculum, and then as we were guiding our curriculum, the building decisions came together.
That's cool.
So for health and Phi-Ed, we're basically getting the building, the entire high school itself will be about 1.5 times the size that it is right now. It's going to be huge. And we have, right now, we have our main gym for Phi-Ed. We have a multi-purpose wrestling room. We have an auxiliary gym, and then we have our fitness center. And so after these changes, what we're going to have is a 6-court field house with a 4-lane elevated running track. And then we're going to also have a secondary weight room for mostly athletic-based after school, but for different labs and activities for Phi-Ed and health during the school day, as well as keeping our original fitness center. So we're going from 4,000 square feet of fitness center to about 10,000. And then we're going from technically 5 stations in our gyms to 11.
Wow.
And then we're also adding 2 full turf fields outside.
So tell me then, what are maybe some of the curricular changes or updates, or, I mean, there can't be many places that have access like you guys do. What does that enable you to do? What are some maybe specific things that that you guys are going to be able to do now that you couldn't before? So
our academy is a health science academy, and so we have 2 areas of interest within that, and there's 5 within that. But we have exercise science and athletic medicine. And so basically what we're doing is we're restructuring the entire physical education realm, basically. And we're creating classes that focus on sciences and authentic learning, giving kids actual experiences, but also tying in the important activity minutes and making sure that they are being physical throughout the day. So we're finding a balance, and I think we've done a great job of doing that. And we're allowing kids to explore something in health sciences, whether it's working with an athletic trainer after school, or learning about nutrition topics from some of the nutrition teachers, or even having maybe a partnership or someone from St. Francis come and work with physical therapy. But in the same setting, we're allowing kids to still be active throughout the day, get some activity minutes, focus on the basic standards such as their muscular strength, endurance, flexibility, working on their cardiovascular health as well.
That's awesome. And in full disclosure, Matt was a student of mine at the U, so he probably knows I feel pretty strongly about the cognitive aspect of physical education, which I believe empowers students. No matter what they're doing physically, you need to give them the cognitive tools and the motivation and empower them to be physically active outside of school. I mean, the whole goal is whether they get physical activity for 50 minutes at 8 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 p.m., whatever it may be, our goal is to have them get that activity. So it's awesome to hear some of that you guys are able to do.
And one thing that I've really kind of picked up in my first 3 years is that kids really want to learn this stuff. They want to learn about the body. You know, I teach a strength and conditioning course, and they come in and they work out. And it's more than just the sets and reps of them. It's why is my muscle doing this, and how can I optimize that? How do I get better? Because I want to be better for after school activity, or I just want to be healthier. You know, and so if we hold them to high expectations, because that's just the way that we do it here. And we want to push their limits and push their boundaries of what they want to do and what they want to learn. Because if you set up that expectation, they're going to reach it.
Yeah, and something you said there, the curiosity. I think as any educator, I mean, isn't that what we ultimately want to do, is instill curiosity so they go and learn on their own. You know, most of the learning is going to be the 23 hours when they're not with you. But to instill that curiosity is awesome. And so you guys have the opportunity to do that. So that's great. You're going to do that. Let me get back to community stuff. You talked about, authentic learning, things like that. in partnering with, like you said, St. Francis, which not the city, but the medical facility. So you guys are partnering with outside community. Is that part of this redesign? Is that part of just something you guys are doing? Or tell me a little bit more about your partnerships and how you're doing that.
It's part of the redesign. We just had, the Shakopee community has been so just like grateful for what we've done in education, and they've been so beneficial and helpful for us. I mean, one of the first things I probably noticed right away teaching here is how connected the community was to education, to athletic events, to just it's that small town feel, but now we're kind of in this big city. But we haven't really lost that effect. The community has always been surrounding and supportive. And a lot of these local businesses have as well. Right now we have a partnership with Shutterfly. So we have students going to Shutterfly, working with their programmers, their management, working with those systems, actually learning what a career at Shutterfly would be like.
Really? They do that during the day? And
yep.
That's awesome.
We have the same one with the nursing corps at St. Francis. So they'll come here for school for a couple hours, and then they'll have 3 to 4 hours that they're actually at St. Francis working with the nurses, working with doctors, working with hospital management, learning the entire system, and they're getting credit for it while in high school.
Wow.
And it's a beautiful thing because we're connecting them to the real world while they're still in that kind of this secure, safe space of high school. I can explore, I can learn, I can do these things and figure out what I want to do or maybe what I don't want to do.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's are you guys doing that in Fayette? Is that part of so the one where they go to St. Francis, part of the Health Sciences Academy?
Health Sciences and Human Services. They're two different academies that will kind of tie in. In the Health Sciences, we haven't kind of locked down our official partnerships yet. But St. Francis is right down the road. We have an athletic trainer who comes after school and works with our athletes. So that's just kind of like probably, a pretty sure partnership for us right now, but we're looking for others. One thing that we're really interested in as a department at the high school is creating an online Fayette program, because we want kids to, if they're not comfortable doing it in school, we still want them to be healthy and be able to learn about these things. Or for the students who are kind of higher potential and they want to get the credits done, but they also want to take other classes. So we have 2 avenues that we're trying to aiming for and reaching out for 2 types of groups. What I think would be great is, maybe with Lifetime and Savage, or there's a Snap Fitness in Shakopee, we have online content that they have to go through and cover. And then sometime during the day, they can log minutes or hours going to that facility and getting a workout in, or going, joining an intramural league or something like that. And so we're trying to create, again, as much authentic learning as possible, but also, meet the needs of our students.
The online portion, again, in full disclosure, that was an emphasis area while I was in my PhD program. So I'm obviously very interested in that. And I do believe that that's an avenue for not every student, but there's a group of students who come into our Phi Ed class that don't like it, don't enjoy it. And I believe we teach them out of being physically active because they actually don't enjoy being there and thus don't enjoy physical activity. Talk to me, and anytime I bring up online Phi Ed, some people are, well, how the heck does that work? Online Phi Ed, that seems crazy. Tell me about the acceptance or how that's going, not only maybe in the community, maybe in your department, maybe in the school. How's that brought up, and what's the feeling on online Phi Ed?
It's a very new idea, probably within, this past summer. Just
so very new.
Very new.
Yeah.
We just kind of decided, while we have so much support from admin and everyone with this new creation and the new building and all these things, we might as well tie in that as well. Because like you said, there's a population of students who, they don't enjoy Phi Ed, and when they are forced to do it, it discourages them from, seeing kind of some future in being physically active and healthy. And, so we want alternative learning for them. We want it to be fun and enjoyable, and something that they're not going to be afraid of. But we're still kind of working out, how that would look.
Yeah.
But I think a partnership would be great, because if we could have, if you don't want to be in a natural Phi Ed setting with a bunch of kids in a gym or in a weight room
at 8 a.m. after you just took a shower, or, little things like that are important.
Whether it's intimidation or just other things in the day. But if you can go after school or after work and get an hour lift on and maybe work with a trainer or someone and still log those hours and then get the stuff done online and the content. Plus, I think that would be a great option for some students.
Yeah, I think, going back to the ultimate goal, getting them college ready, life ready. I mean, honestly, I think sometimes we have to get over ourselves and say, who cares how we do it? Let's figure out a way to do it, instead of saying, no, you have to fit into our institution of education and you have to do it from 8 a.m. to 8:50 a.m. And if you don't like it, too bad. I don't think we're helping students that way. So that's cool that you're doing that. A little bit of time left here. I want to talk to me a little bit. So some of the goals I want to get out of this is having some actionable things. You're obviously in a pretty cool situation here. A lot of people aren't. Number one, talk to me about the importance of the partnerships that you've got, obviously with the community, but maybe to admin. They obviously are supporting physical education, the school board, things like that. How have you worked with them, or how has your department gained, strength through them?
A lot of it just comes down to that first conversation, just understanding that, we want to be different. We want to create an education system for our students. We don't want to have an education system that's already been created for them. So we want to create their education. Cool. We want them really to create what they want to be and where they want to go, instead of having kind of like set parameters that if you don't fit this box, find this box. You don't fit that one, find that one. Oh, you fit that one, and you're on to the next level. And it all comes down to authentic learning. Is what are the skills that I need not only to make it to that next level, whether it's a tech school, it's a 4-year, it's a right into a career, not just to make it, but be successful, be a leader there. And that's kind of been the big goal. If we go all the way up, at the district office level, all the way down to building administration, it's just been, complete support of the teachers and people involved, getting more people involved, because the more we have involved, the better we're going to do. And I think that the more work we can get done in such a short period of time. And so I think that just having their support, having those conversations, and just kind of constructing what we want to construct, and seeing that, again, it comes down to what are our student interests, how do we support them with those interests, and provide kind of this guiding light for them for the things that they want to do.
I like guiding light. That's a good metaphor. Maybe last thing here is, so there's going to be teachers out who are in districts and schools that don't have the 10,000 foot space that you guys are now going to have, and all those things. But I think your ideas can translate. So I'm going to kind of take you out of this situation and put you into, a school that doesn't have great facilities. You've been through a process of almost to the point of saying, hey, we have an open slate here, let's take advantage of it. Can any of those ideas translate to somebody who wants to do the best they can with the facilities they have? Because I believe your ideas can transition. You don't need the fancy stuff. Maybe some ideas on some of the things you've learned through this process?
Yeah, I think, you don't really need everything fancy. You probably don't even need all the support. If you want to change something in your classroom, you can totally do it. A lot of it comes down to if you can use technology. That's been huge for me, just using a projector, showing kids using different apps and stuff. We're going 1-to-1 next year for everyone in the district, which is awesome.
Are you on iPads or Chromebooks?
We're doing...
are you going to give them a computer?
Macs, Airs.
Oh, MacBook Airs.
The MacBook Airs for all the students at the high school.
Cool.
So they're going to have, that brings its own challenges. Obviously, there's some restrictions, stuff like that. We have the 45-degree rule, certain things that we're doing across the district, that stuff. But all of it's for opportunity.
Yeah.
Creating opportunity. And so if you have the opportunity, if you don't have 1-to-1, but you can get that cart of Chromebooks, and rent them, even if you're in a FIAD classroom. All right, today we're going to research something different. Find a sport from a different country, and what do other people do in other cultures, and how can we celebrate that, and how can we, how do we create our own sports, or how do we do stuff? So just, try to build creativity, because that's what we're trying to do as well. Is we're finding that creativity and the curiosity that you brought up, and allow your students to do that. Rely on technology, and just you can change anything you really want to change. Just provide different lessons and back it up with the education that you have and the standards you want to cover, and I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, I think creativity is a huge one. Not only you have to be creative, but I think it's encouraging your kids to be creative too. And if they see you being creative, overcoming maybe some physical barriers of or institutional barriers, that's a big one. I think another lesson that I'm hearing out of you too is, I think your partnerships and your communications with the community, with administration, you were forced to because of this redesign of everything. So you were forced to have conversations, and I think that's something that can teachers, even if there's no real change happening, but you want to do some updates, I think that collaboration is still important. I think getting your principal on board, going to your school board, getting them on board and saying, here are the things we're doing. I'm being creative because I want to reach every single student. You come out of a situation where you guys were kind of forced to. You had to have those communications. And I think ultimately that is an advantage for not only the school, but for your program too, even if you don't have new stuff going on.
And I think a big thing too is just find people who are like-minded, people who want to create new changes in their classrooms and collaborate together. It's going to maybe be hours after school and it's going to do other things and might be stressful here and there, but for the most part, we're doing it, and this is what we're doing at Shakti, is we're doing it for the kids. We're trying to set them up for the most success wherever they're going. And it's not, with this whole academy model and such a giant district and all these kids, what we're doing is we're trying to create the biggest safety net possible so that nobody slips through the cracks. So as long as if your heart's in the right place and you're focused on the right thing, which is your students, and giving them those opportunities, then I think the sky's the limit for you.
Awesome thing to end it on there. So just a reminder out there, you can go to motivatepe.com, click on, you can click anywhere, our PE talks are there and everything, but click on deep discussions for these talks. Check it out. I'd love some feedback. And lastly, I want to thank Matt for
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. All right. Awesome.
Thanks, man.
All right.